Okay, what I'm doing right now is, since I actually made a mistake in getting pizza flour for my pizza, because bread flour is better, I am making this into bread flour. The way you do it is you can make bread flour at home like this. You measure out 2.5 cups of all-purpose or pizza flour, and I did that. I spooned this into the measuring cups. I leveled it off with this, and now I've got 2.5 cups in here. I'm going to remove 2 1/4 teaspoon from here, and then replace it with 2 1/4 teaspoon of vital wheat gluten. Yeah, and then mix it all together, and there's my bread flour. And now I bet my pizzas are going to be better. I'm getting ready to make pizza dough. I've come up with an efficient system here. Now this is my bread flour, which I created from the 00 flour by adding in the vital wheat gluten. And then I measure it, and I spoon it into the measuring cup, level it off with the knife, and then put it in here. So now I have 1.5 cups of unbleached bread flour in here, which I created bread flour from the 00 because I don't want to use 00. It makes it too dry. Okay, now this, and then I don't waste any of this. What spilled over from the top of the cup is going to go back in here. And then I'm going to store this in a bread flour container. Aren't I clever, huh? Okay, I precisely measured 1.5 cups bread flour. I kind of had to make bread flour because I had 00 flour, but I did it with, and then whole wheat flour, and I whisked it all together, and it's all in here. Now I'm ready to go to the next step of making my homemade pizza bread dough. Yeah, let's go ahead and get ready to. This time I will not make the mistake of putting in the whole active dry yeast packet. I'm going to measure it out because I don't want my dough to taste like beer when it's done. I just put in a teaspoon of honey in this water, and it's warm but not hot because we don't want to kill the yeast. Now I'm going to put in a teaspoon of active dry yeast, which is the best yeast to use since I'm planning on doing refrigeration fermentation with this. Okay, I just added the yeast, and I'm kind of like swishing it around with a fork to make sure it's really blended. I think the water's warm enough. There's a teaspoon of yeast. I did a lot of research for this recipe, so it's going to be interesting to see whether my pizza crust gets better. Okay, so what we're going to do now, let it sit 5 minutes till frothy. So yeah, maybe I'll have some meditation time now, huh? I actually transferred the yeast honey water mixture to this bowl, and then when it gets frothy enough, it's almost there. I'm going to wait a little bit more. It's getting frothy. I want it to be a little bit more frothy. So I'm going to wait another 5 minutes, and then I'm going to throw it all, then I'll throw that yeast mixture in here and proceed from there, because I want to save this bowl for when I let it rise in the oven. Well, when I let it rise, it doesn't, yeah, we'll get there. So it's almost there. It's starting to get frothy. I'm going to let it go like another 5 minutes, because once I add the salt in here, it's going to start killing the yeast a little bit. So I want this yeast to be really healthy. This is kind of like a year-old active dry yeast packet, so yeah. I probably won't have this problem anymore with worrying about my yeast being dead, because I plan on making bread regularly now. Oh yeah, okay, I pre-measured the salt, the flour, olive oil. Olive oil will be next. You really do need that to keep the crust from being too dry. So I think I'm going to try to do 1 tablespoon. Okay, there's the olive oil. Mix that in there. The next thing that I'm going to put in is the salt, pre-measured. Hold on a minute. Gonna mix it till a shaggy dough forms. So let me just keep mixing it right now. I gotta turn this. It looks like I got the perfect consistency here. I'm gonna go ahead and start the kneading, and that's just gonna like push down. Unfortunately, I can't film this because I don't have another person here, and I'm doing it inside the bowl. So I'm gonna knead it for 10 minutes. I might do it while I'm by the window and enjoy myself, eh? Okay, I actually kneaded it for like 15 minutes because I added in about an extra 2 tablespoons of bread flour, and it's pretty much not sticky anymore, and when it bounces back when I poke, so it looks like it's ready. I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of olive oil to this bowl right here and let it rise till it doubles in size. I'm going to coat, hold on. What I'm going to do is add a teeny bit of olive oil in here. Put the dough ball in there, roll it all around. Let's just coat it with oil, then cover this with plastic wrap. Let it rise in a, I'm going to put it in the oven where it's kind of warm and let it rise till it doubles in size. Okay, it rose nicely. What I do is I turn the oven on the lowest heat, then I turn it off and just let it rise. So it's about doubled in size, and I put about a teaspoon of the Partana extra virgin olive oil in. These are the containers where I'm going to ferment this. So tomorrow I'll be making pizza with this dough, and then the day after. So yeah, and then I'm going to go ahead and spread this out. I'm going to roll it up into a dough, cut it in half, and then I'm going to roll it around in the oil and cover it with plastic wrap and let it just rise in the refrigerator for a couple days. Okay, they're both coated with the Partana olive oil. I'm going to let them ferment in the fridge, one for 24 hours, one for 48. So one of these is going to be making pizza tomorrow, and there's the basil I'm going to be using. So yeah, let's go ahead and put the cover on these and put it in the coldest part of the refrigerator. And then I am done with the dough for now. Yep. I am prepping my ingredients before I start cooking with the heat. I need 2 tablespoons of fresh basil, which will be a topping. It's going to be cut in thin strips. So let me go ahead and get going on that. Okay. I stored it at room temperature in a jar of water, and though some of these leaves were just wrapped with a paper towel, and they didn't do quite so well. I had to throw some of them out, but this is just going to be a topping. Oops. So let's see. Got more chopping to do. And after the pizza's done, it'll be like a topping, you know, like how some people sprinkle parsley on top of their finished dishes. This one is topped off with basil. There you go. That's the. I'm not really showing you the par-baked pizza crust because I kind of already made a video about that. Basically, well, maybe I will show you. Hold on. Let me chop the next item. I decided to go with frozen artichoke hearts, which I actually took out of the freezer yesterday, and I just put these in my hand and squeezed them over the sink and tried to get as much of the water out of them as possible. So what I'm going to do is chop them to get the pizza ready. Just, you know, they're going to go on top of pizza, chopped. I did a little research, and they say when you use artichoke, using the frozen has really good results with spinach. I mean, not spinach, with pizza. I don't know why I said that. Okay, let me, yeah, that would make sense because the frozen artichoke hearts would be drier and would be less mushy. You know, you don't want to have mushy artichoke hearts over a pizza crust. So I think I made a good decision here. Yeah, these are from Walmart, the Walmart frozen vegetable section. So I'm just gonna chop them and get them pizza ready. And I do have a jar of red pepper. That I'm going to squeeze too, probably. I want all this stuff to be as dry as possible before I put it on my par-baked crust. As you can see, here is the pizza dough. Now this is an improvement over the dough I made before. It's about the right size, I can tell by looking at it. So I think we're going to have a nice pizza here. It's got some whole wheat in there, and the pizza crust, actually, I used 00 flour, and I substituted. What I did was I took out 2 1/4 teaspoons out of the 0 flour and replaced it with Vital Wheat gluten flour, and that was to make it into a bread flour. And then I whisked it all together, and then so basically I transformed my 00 flour into bread flour, because the way I make pizza, I would think I'm going to have better results with bread flour. So from now on, when I make my pizza and my pitas, because I'm planning on making pita too, pita bread, I plan on using bread flour. You might, yeah, when you do it the way I do it, where I par-bake the crust, okay, and cook it in an oven about close to 450. That's about as hot as I can go without destroying my cookware. It's better to use bread flour, yeah, rather than pizza flour. Pizza flour is designed for a very hot oven, okay, very hot oven. So I make up for that so that when I do cook the crust, I put it on the lowest rack near the heating element, and just cook it there for about 8 minutes to par-bake it. So that's what I plan on doing after I've shaped it and everything. So okay, this looks like it's going to be about a ½ cup, yeah, maybe a little bit more, but yeah, that looks like about a ½ cup, yeah, that's about right. Okay, so this artichoke is ready for the pizza. Let's bring it over this way. Now I'm going to go ahead and work on chopping up the red pepper. What I did with the roasted bell peppers, I took it out of the jar, and I got the Mount Olives brand here. I dried it with paper towels as much as I could, because you don't want wet toppings on a pizza. And I'm going to cut it into thin strips and get it pizza ready. The recipe, one pizza only needs 1/4 cup. So what I'm going to do is, it looks like there's enough here for 4 pizzas, I think. I'm going to cut it, get it all pizza ready, and the parts I don't use I'm going to freeze. Yeah, because this only stays good in the jar for about 7 days. So the parts I don't use by tomorrow or the day after, I will freeze. Let's get these in good pizza sizes here. It's already a little bit more liquidy than I like, but you know. But I did get most. I might take more of it out. Let me see. More liquid out. Oh, this has got liquid in it. I don't want that. Okay. Let me get more paper towels here. Hold on. Yeah, you don't want wet toppings on a pizza. Like I went to extra trouble to dry the artichokes. Let me get me another container here. It's a challenge enough to have a crispy crust when you don't have a hot oven, okay? And so I'm working with what I can with my studio apartment, okay? So that looks like I might have enough for 6 pizzas here. Yeah. So I'm going to be doing like what you see here and just get this all chopped up, pizza ready, and then when I'm done with that, I'll move on to the next step. Okay, now the recipe now calls for 1/2 cup thinly sliced red onion. These are left over from when I made my vegetable pizza. Let's see here. I've got more red onion over here. I sure hate to waste this. Let me see. Let me go ahead, thinly slice this and get it ready. Get it pizza ready. Thinly sliced and about pizza size, you know. Okay, I've got a technique that I use here in my studio apartment with my little oven. Oh, hold on a minute. Yeah, I'll be using this as the basting sauce, but we'll get to that later. Let me go ahead and put a little bit of avocado oil, a thin film of that on the crisper here. What I do, because my dough is going to go on that. That's just to keep it from sticking. Avocado oil has a high heat point. So I put a paper towel underneath so that when I transfer the crisper with the holes in it to the oven, I don't make a mess of my kitchen, okay? This works. I don't need a lot of oil, just enough to keep it from sticking. Now, yeah, avocado oil tastes pretty good with pizza, I've learned, okay? Now, I learned a big mistake that I've been making with pizza is you do not use a rolling pin when you form your pizza circle. No, that ruins the gluten it ruins it makes it so that your pizza doesn't come out right. So let me put a little semolina flour is good when you bake the way I do. I actually use this. That'll work. Okay. This dough looks like it's much better than the last one. Let me make sure everything's in the camera here. Yeah, good enough, huh? Let me see. Yeah, that'll work. Okay. That dough looks really good. I made it yesterday and it fermented in the refrigerator overnight. Let's kind of spread this around. I want this to be approximately a 10-inch, almost 11-inch. That's an 11-inch pan over there. And the oven's being preheated to 440. Okay. Let's form it into a ball. I coated it with some Partana extra virgin olive oil in here now I'm going to kind of like flatten it out into a disc. This feels right. Like it kind of feels like the Whole Foods pizza, doesn't it? Now what I'm going to do is press it down. You do not use a rolling pin. What I like about using this method is I can twirl this thing around, right? Well, or you can just go this way. And I just try to make sure that I'm going in the circle direction. Then I'll kind of like this. The semolina flour is, I'm finding, adds a nice, I want to get a little bit more going this way. Now here's a trick that I learned from watching a YouTube video by an Italian pizza maker. I bought this just for pizza. Let's see. Look at this. And then I can flip it like this too. This actually makes about a 9-inch pizza. Then once I put it in the crisper pan, I can spread it out some more, or I can spread it out some more in here and then bring it over that way. But I usually prefer to do it right in the pan. This dough feels right. And this actually makes it go into almost the perfect circle shape, so that it doesn't look like it's a homemade pizza dough, you know? This actually works out pretty good. Okay. Now, that's pretty good. Bring it on over here. Okay, I've brought it on over to the crisper. Now I'm shaping it on the crisper, making it a little bit bigger. Doesn't have to be perfect. Let's move this so you can see what I'm doing. It's going to be perfect size, right about 10 inches. Like I said, the oven now is preheating to 180. I'll give it a bit of a rim here. Yeah, I made this yesterday. I kind of kneaded myself to death, and I have a bit of carpal tunnel in this left hand, and oh, I kind of overdid it, you know. But what you can do if your hands get tired from kneading is you can lift the pizza and flip it forward, and then turn the tray around, flip it forward. I mean, do it 4 times. Let it sit for 30 minutes, then do that again. Let it sit for 30 minutes, do that again, and that can be the equivalent of kneading. That's what I heard for people like myself with carpal tunnel. Okay, I think that's pretty good right there. Now let me go ahead and prick it all over, because it's, yeah, hold on. Yeah. You have to be so organized when you make a pizza, I'm telling you. Especially the way I do it, with everything from scratch. Alright. If it rises a little bit, it's not the end of the world, you know. If it forms these big pockets, and as long as it tastes good, right? But okay, now no, I do not put it in the oven with the paper towels like this. What I do is I take the crisper pan off of the bottom one, okay, and then I put the crisper in there on the lowest rack that I can without burning myself. Yeah, so I basically just bring it over to the oven like this, I'll show you what I do. Hold on. Trying to film and cook a pizza at the same time is a challenge and a half. Okay. I do it like this. You're going to stick. There you go. Alrighty. I don't know if you saw what I did. Okay, I'm going to turn it off and let it cook for about 8 minutes. I forgot to let it rest in the pan for 10 minutes. It's okay. It's been rising outside so much, it's probably still going to be good. Okay, about 6 to 8 minutes, so that would be about 3:48. Yeah, I forgot. Okay. Anyways, here's, yeah, that's okay. I just put in a half teaspoon oregano, a quarter teaspoon mint in here. This will be going on prepping for the toppings. Let's get the Kalamata olives ready. Yeah, we'll do that next. Okay, I didn't have time to finish getting all. I got half of the cheese ready, but it's time to take the pizza out. Yeah, let's go ahead and take it out without burning myself. Oh, shoot, I forgot. Shoot, wait a minute. Trying to film and do this at the same time is like, That's right, I don't want to make a mess. Okay, so let's go ahead and take it out without making a mess. See, that's what it is. Now we're going to stick it right over here. Let's close the door because we got to keep it hot. Okay, let me see if I'm still on the camera here. I don't know if you saw what I did, but basically the whole purpose for that getup is to keep my floor clean, okay? Alright, I do not put the paper towel in the oven, obviously, along with that bottom tin. The whole purpose for the crisper, actually that crust doesn't look too bad. And what I'm going to do now is let that cool off while I work on getting the toppings ready here. What I did here, I got 3/8 cup of feta. Now we're going to put in 3/8 cup of mozzarella. It looks like it might be a lot of cheese. Let me see. I think I might not follow the recipe exactly. Yeah. I'm going to do 2/8 cup mozzarella. Yeah. Yeah. Now let's go ahead and mix this up. Looking at the size of that pizza, I don't want to overwhelm it like I've been doing. This will work. I like the feta better than the mozzarella anyways. Yeah, this is plenty of cheese here. Now, I do like the Kalamata olives, so my allergies are acting up. This is plenty of cheese. Okay, with the Kalamata olives, let's see. That would be 1/4 a cup. Let me, hold on a minute. Just need something to hold it in, that's all. This is 1/3 a cup. 1/4 a cup. I'll just measure out 1/4 a cup. Get a little teaspoon here. I don't want it to be wet, so I might let it drain over the sink. This is 1/4 a cup. They're already, I got them already chopped, saves me a little bit of time, right? I love the Kalamata olives. Okay, let me drain them over the sink a little bit. I'm going to turn this off. Okay, what I have done, let's see, my bacon sauce, I put the rack in the middle. I moved it from the lower to the middle because that's better for my oven. Spread tomato sauce. This is Rao's tomato basil. I like it because it's kind of thick. Spread tomato sauce over the crust. Obviously, I'm not going to be able to use this all for 2 pizzas, so I will end up freezing this so it doesn't go rotten on me like happened to one of my pizza sauces, which was a really good one that I bought at Whole Foods. I was dumber about pizza making back then than I am now. I'm learning from my mistakes. You actually want to put this on kind of light because you don't want to make your pizza soggy. But you do want it on there though. It does give it a nice flavor. Okay. Now, sprinkle the Greek seasoning over the tomato sauce. There is a Greek seasoning, but I made my own. It's just a combination of mint and oregano. I figured this will work. I like to be able to taste my food. That's what I love about the Greek and authentic Greek and Italian cuisine, that you can taste your food. I don't like overly processed stuff. Oh, I bet this looks like it's going to be good, man. Okay. There we go. That. Next step. Top with mozzarella. Okay. No, I wasn't supposed to mix them. Oh, that's okay. This'll work. Yeah. Like I said, first time I've made this, you know, huh? It'll be good. Oh, that's right. I put the artichoke hearts in the refrigerator. I'll go get them. Yeah. I just like everything to taste really fresh. So you could have used more cheese. I don't like drowning my pizza with cheese. I like feta. This will be good. This will be good. Actually, to be honest with you, I think I will follow the recipe. Hold on. I'll go ahead and put in a little bit more. So I am kind of following the recipe here. Okay, that's good. Okay, artichoke hearts. Let me go get them. Where did I put them? I stuck them in here so they wouldn't go rotten. Here they are. All right. Like I say, I like everything fresh. Artichoke hearts. These are from Frozen. And like I said, I dried everything out as much as possible so we don't have a soggy crust. Yeah. This already looks mouth-watering to me. Like I said, we're gonna find out. Okay, artichoke hearts. It's still going, okay. Okay, steak, I already did that. Red onion. Half of this. Not all of this, half of this. How much red onion? About a half a cup, yeah. That's good. Okay, olives. Now this looks like it's going to be an interesting pizza. The crust has got some whole, it's about almost half whole wheat, and the other half is bread flour. Okay, and then roasted peppers, all of this. Boy, even though I tried to get all the liquid out, there's still liquid coming out. But I did the best I could. Hopefully when it goes in the oven it's not. That's smart to put them on last because they are kind of mushy, you know. Now this looks like it's going to be an interesting pizza. Okay. So now we're going to bake it directly on the pizza crisper until the crust is crispy and so we're going to put it in there about 10 more minutes. Like I said, I have it in the middle section. Where my fingers? Get them off. I've got the I wanted to try a different pizza, you know. And then when it comes out, I will be sprinkling the fresh basil on top. So let's see. It actually cooled off quite a bit. Okay. Let's try to put it in here without burning myself. There we go. All right, 10 minutes. I'll be back in 10 minutes. Okay, time to pull it out. Actually, you don't want to wait too long because turn the heat down. And let's not burn myself. Okay, yeah, sorry about, I'm not very good with I don't have the best camera situation here. Alright, let's see here. I turn the oven off. There it is. Okay. Interesting. Now, before I pre-cooked the vegetables, this should be interesting. Like I said, I'm going to find out. Let me see what the bottom looks like. That looks interesting. It actually looks, you know, I think it's done. Yeah. Okay. I don't know what it is about whole wheat. It's a little bit brown on the bottom. I'm going to let it cool off. Let me finish doing the dishes here. Oh, hold on. There it is. Like I said, I'm going to let it cool off, and then I'll cut it. There it is with the basil added, the fresh basil. I think it's ready to eat. Let me get a plate. So that is a Greek pizza with a homemade crust. Yeah. Oh, by the way, note of interest. Now, I don't use one of them pizza things, those roller. I just use scissors. I found out that's how the Italians cut their pizza. So apparently I do it the best way, right? The Italians use scissors like I do. It seems logical, This way you don't damage it. Well, anyways, I bet it's still hot. This looks interesting. This is a Greek pizza, though. Okay. This looks interesting. Might be a little bit hot. Let's see here. The crust looks right. I like the crust. This is very good. First class pizza. Looks like the crust is nice. It's crisp on the outside, kind of bready on the inside. I like it. I'm getting better at making pizza. This is a good pizza. So I will be posting this at my cooking channel. Oh. That must have been a good pizza because it's a half an hour later and it's all in my stomach. I couldn't stop eating it. The crust was great. It was just delicious. And the enemy was attacking me and causing me to bite my tongue. Such despicable Gail entities.
In a world of secrets where darkness reigns, there's a warrior rising, breaking free from chains. She's Gail Schuler, her heart's pure and strong. With the power of love, she'll right the world's wrongs. Yeah. She's the first, a passionate pursuit.